A long time ago, women were standing on their side of the fence and completely falling for the idea that the grass is greener on the other side. So they fought with all their might to demolish that fence so that they can come and go between whichever side they want freely. And as they were shoving their way to get over to the men's side, of course a bunch of men realized that, hey, you know what? The other side of the fence actually is looking pretty appealing. How about we go make room for all these women coming to this side by us going to that side? And a funny thing has happened. Women's happiness is continually declining while men's is continually increasing. Now you got more women trapped on the men's side of the fence and they're starting to freak out. Like, no. Can we just take all this back? Can we just go to the other side of the fence again? It's going to be pretty hard to do now because a bunch of us men have moved over to the other side of the fence where they vacated their spot and we're not willing to move. We like sitting here on this side of the fence, thank you very much. I am not being sarcastic in the slightest when I say that I am truly thankful to feminism for liberating men. Thanks to feminism, a growing number of men no longer feel the need to be traditional men. They don't feel the need to be expendable plow horses. And better yet, they're immune to being shamed for it. Oh, but it gets better. At its root, the collapse of the working class isn't so much economic as it is social, moral, and spiritual. This means that economic remedies will only take us so far. Marriage rates for less educated men have plunged, and unmarried men are far more likely to opt for unwork. The percentage of babies born to unmarried parents has soared. Working class whites have largely abandoned church, while church attendance among higher income whites has stayed relatively high, and family and community networks have dissolved. Okay, let's go through this then. The first part I don't entirely disagree with. Economic remedies will in fact only take us so far. Because at this point, men have woken up and realized what a horrible deal marriage is for them. And when freed from the chains of having to provide for a family, they're also realizing that, you know what? One person does not exactly need that much money to live off of. So it's not entirely surprising that unmarried men are far more likely to do this. If you live for your hobbies and your hobbies are relatively cheap, you don't need to work a lot. In fact, depending on where you live, you may be able to get away with just having a part-time job. And this part here is kind of funny. The percentage of babies born to unmarried parents has soared. And I have to ask, whose fault is that? Who is it that has the final and pretty much only say as to whether or not they're gonna have a kid? Hint, it's not the men. I do not know a single woman who was actively trying to avoid getting pregnant who actually ended up getting pregnant. Yeah, I know, apparently the pill is only effective like 99% of the time. There may be the occasional accident. But if these women honestly didn't want to have kids, the percentage of kids born to unmarried parents would be a tiny fraction of what it is now. This is something you cannot blame men on, I'm sorry. For us guys, our only choices are vasectomy, condom, or abstinence. After that, the ball is entirely in the woman's court. We have absolutely zero reproductive rights. All we have are responsibilities. So let's talk about the responsibilities for a bit. It's no surprise that when you take mass shaming and control, aka church, out of the question, that guys will start looking for other options. Again, let's think about this for a second. You like to point out the differences between the past and now, right? Well, in the past, guys actually got a little bit out of the arrangement. They got a homemaker, someone to watch out for their kids, someone to have sex with. Now, I'm not going to try to claim that this was the perfect arrangement and everyone was happy. That's completely irrelevant to this discussion. The point is, guys got something out of the arrangement. Whether it's worth it or not, that's up to the individual man or woman. But now, everything we got is pretty much stripped away. We still have all of the responsibilities, right? But all the rewards we used to have in return for this, they've slowly been stripped away one at a time. And for the ultimate extreme example, look at the case of the divorced man that's working in an actually good upper middle class job. If a man is working like a six-figure job and living in a studio apartment eating ramen so his ex-wife can live in the mansion, it's no surprise that these guys decide, hey, you know what? I'm just going to stop working. And then other guys, seeing the plight of this guy, we just turn around and look at each other and say, you know, if I'm going to be living in a studio apartment eating ramen anyway, I may as well skip that middle step where someone else takes all of my stuff. Again, I'm not trying to claim that things were perfect in the past, and I'm not trying to claim that men are completely blameless in these situations. But the quote-unquote problem that you are whining about is that most of us are learning to spot a raw deal. And you seem to be pretty confused as to how to fix the problem, as you say in your last paragraph. An economic revival might help, a spiritual revival might help too, if only we had a clue how to do that. Well, here's a hint. How about you make the sacrifices now? Now, before you go up in arms, hear me out. From our perspective, we don't give a shit if you still view yourselves as the oppressed ones and how this is so unfair. If you want us to do something for you, you have to reciprocate. We're not just gonna do it for free just because it's expected of us and that's what real men do. We don't give a shit anymore. We have slowly been stripped of our rewards while our responsibilities have remained the same. It's no surprise that more of us are seeing the bullshit. If it's that hard for you to see, imagine it like this. Imagine you're working your current job, and for whatever reason you just get a pay cut. And every year, instead of getting a raise, you get a pay cut the longer you stay with that job. Eventually, you're working for damn near free. How much longer would you stay with that job before you just decide to jump ship and find something else, huh? Especially if you knew there were better options out there. If you're smart, you wouldn't stick around very long. This is exactly what men are doing. We see we have a better option and we go for this better option. And before I sign off, as a final note, there's another possible solution to your dilemma. You could remove our better options by whatever means you want. That'll work as well in the short term. But as I've mentioned before, if that's the kind of world you want to create, you better watch your back and you better never let your guard down. Because those of us whose better options you have removed, we're going to be watching and waiting for you to slip up. We're just going to be waiting for our chance to go all Newton's third law on your asses with an equal and opposite reaction. So whatever you do, just consider this carefully. You can either do this the smart way and bring back some of the benefits and sell us on it as to why it's such a good idea, basically make it a good choice for us, or you could do it the stupid and hostile way and remove all of our better options. And if you choose option number 2, don't be surprised when you see a whole bunch of people that just want to see the world burn. And that's all I got to say, guys. Thanks for listening.
Okay, that was Raging Golden Eagle basically telling you what Mgtow in its essence basically is. That is the bare essence of what Mgtow is. So to anybody that can't understand what he just said, I don't know what to tell you. But it's been going around, especially in the IBMOR circle or the Black Manosphere, about Mgtow. And it's, for lack of a better term, hatred of Mgtow. Most of the hatred of Mgtow doesn't come from the philosophy or anything like that. What it comes from is that you're going to have races in any place where there's white people and black people. They actually mix on any kind of form. You're going to have some yahoos and you're going to have some racists. You're going to have some alt-right people that are kind of uncouth and rub black people the wrong way. That's going to happen. So black people get in the comment section and we talk about something that bothers us as black people, and we're going to get the opposite reaction because guess what? On the other side, they're white people and they don't think the way you do. It is what it is. That's what we call the real world and what we call politics. You're going to find that all over the world. You're going to find that in mixed neighborhoods between Latinos and black people. It is what it is. Well, let's get into Mgtow. I gave you the bare essence from a white guy's point of view, which is Raging Golden Eagle's point of view, and I'm going to give you mine. So we're going to dispense with the all the niceties and facts and all the other bullshit. Get down to the fucking bare essence about why I'm in Mgtow and why black men shouldn't hate on it. They should either be with the program or not be with the program. It's really fucking simple. Mgtow is a philosophy. Mgtow is a strategy so that men can fix problems that they have no matter what color they are, white or black. I don't see anybody hollering racism when their black mother, their black baby's mom is going to take them down for child support, or your black ex-wife is taking you down for alimony and child support. Because she's not hollering racism when she's taking you in front of the white man, is she? The same white man that's fucking over other white men in the family courts. The rape culture on campus with young guys doesn't matter what color you are, because they're taking down white men and they're taking down black men. It doesn't matter. White millennials and black millennials are not getting married at the same rate, which is about 80%. And even though we as Mgtows go through all this strategy about female nature, about the laws, about everything else, because you can't talk about basic strategy for 5 years straight, because everybody's going to get bored. For those that can't understand what Mgtow is in an esoteric level or an advanced level, we're going to make it real simple. It's a strategy to force the governments around the world, no matter where you at, down to the point where they have to come back and make a deal. And it makes poop but simple sense, as he tried to point it out. Why should you uphold a system that oppresses you, or that you can't get what you want out of it? Why should you hold it up? If the black community is not going to keep you out of, the black community is not going to help keep you out of family court, which most of the women agree with, then you're going to have to prevent yourself from being in it. How do you do that? You don't have kids and you don't get married. That's the way to keep you out of family court. How do you keep yourself out of civil court for sexual harassment or sexual assault with that he said, she said shit, especially if it gets bad? I don't have to tell you, you look at the game. The game's wallet is going to be $7 million lighter because some thought accused him of sexually assaulting her. Now, you may not agree with it. You said that's just an isolated case, but Mgtows have pointed out that these laws are coming down the pipe. And every time you go balls deep in some chick, especially in the United States or the UK or Canada, unless they halt the movement of these laws coming down the pike, there's chicks that you went balls deep in, and you decide to alpha with her, and she feels some kind of way, and she can come back on you 5 years later accusing you of sexually assaulting her, and now you have to go defend yourself. So it's not a matter of whether you do it or you like pussy or not. It's not a matter of whether you're screwing or not. It's about having an awareness of where you're at and talking about this shit. It's a matter of having a strategy that all these guys are going to walk away and not support kids and not support families. That's going to get women's attention. That's why men and women hate it, because what it's going to do, it's going eventually, if it gets down to the point where there's enough people actually doing, and it doesn't take that many. The tipping point is only like 10%. If you will go over 10%, you hit a tipping point, and the movement of the philosophy of the thought is going to accelerate. And if it gets to like half the people, all of a sudden, you can see the decay in your society. You're going to have to do something before it gets too bad. You're going to have to start cutting deals. They're already starting to cut deals. They're already starting to change the child support laws. Not only the laws, but the judges are starting to change their mind about how they view cases. They hear this stuff. They know what Mgtow is, that people talk about it. Just like you talk about it, they talk about it. Just like you hate it, they hate it. But they don't want it to spread. And if they don't want it to spread, they have to start doing something different. That's why Mgtow moves the doggone needle. That's why it's an effective philosophy. The MRA and men's rights movement have been around since 1975. That's over 40 years. 40 years, everything has gone the wrong way. Men have been getting their ass kicked as far as the courts, as far as the politics, as far as social movements. They've killed at least 2 movements, man, men's movements that I know of. And the biggest one was the Promise Keepers. The feminists came out and killed that. And all they wanted to do was take control of their families and come back and swear to be men and dedicate themselves. They killed that back in the 90s. Men have been getting their heads handed to them and fed to feminists on a platter. The shit didn't work. Why is Mgtow embraced now? Because guess what? The shit works. That's why you have the book called Men on Strike. Men won't participate. And if men don't participate, the system falls. Just like Raging Golden Eagle says, don't be surprised if you keep going down this road. There won't be men that won't mind seeing the world burn. That's what he meant. Hate on it if you must. Disparage it if you like. Insult it if it makes you feel good. But the thing is, all you're doing is spreading it. That's what the feminists found out. That's what white women found out. That's what the MRAs found out. That's what the pickup artists found out. And at the end, that's what governments are finding out. Every time you fuck with it, every time you disparage it, spread the name. And every time you spread the name, more people come in. The tighter you close your hand, the more galaxies, the more star systems slip through your fingers. It can't be stopped. All you can do is remove the environment that it feeds on. That's it. So all you black men out there, all you brothers out there that hate Mgtow or can't stand Mgtow, you know what? Most Mgtows, black Mgtows, don't give a shit. Why? Because we're in it because it works for us. Just like women can't shame you into doing something different than you do. So get over it. Get on to doing whatever agenda that you're on, and don't worry about black Mgtows. Black Mgtows are fine. A lot of guys like me been in it 4 years, and we're fine. There's no crosses in our yard. There's nobody beating down our doors. There's no people taking shots at us. We're fine. We're big boys. A few niggas in the comment section is not going to hurt us. We can handle that. We are a solution to the problem. It doesn't mean that you have to take the philosophy. Whether I'm having sex with women 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which Mgtow does allow, so don't get it twisted, shouldn't even matter to you. And most dudes on here, especially the young ones, talking about how many women they screwed, telling that to older guys, and we're like, dude, grow up. We've been there, and you never know. The dude that you're talking to berating could be the one that screwed your mama, because you wasn't there. You don't know. Anyway, I know that was a low blow, but I'm gonna jump off. This is just my answer to plain talk. And for Dr. Jackson, because I'm gonna call him Dr. Jackson because that's what you're gonna be. You're gonna be a doctor. You know, you do you, man. Basically, you're living a Mgtow lifestyle. Believe it or not. You are living a Mgtow lifestyle. You ain't got no. You're interested in what you're interested in, which is taking care of your business, advancing yourself, having a little fun on the side. You're not getting tied down by marriage and getting tied down by kids, and you probably won't be. So you're basically living a Mgtow lifestyle. Most guys on here are. If you don't have a family and you don't have a kids, you're not living a blue pill life. You're living a Mgtow lifestyle. That's all it's about. You're not feeding the system either for the same reason. But anyway, that's all I got. Mr. Jackson, you do you. You keep up the good work. You keep doing the research, man. Keep learning. Get your degree, man. Knock off as many Polish chicks as you can. With that, I'm going to jump off of here. This is BGS out.